Good morning. Thank you for joining Coffee and Convo Houston, live with RE and Chosen. Today's special guest, FD Sparkman. Good morning. Welcome to
Good
Coffee
morning.
and Convo Houston, live with RE and Chosen. Special guest, FD Sparkman. Okay, so as y'all can see, we had our intro playing this morning. So we would like to have your feedback on that intro. Please drop a comment and let us know what you think. And again, welcome. Happy Father's Day to the fathers out there. I am RE. We have chosen special guest FD Sparkman. Hope y'all like our new setup. We're kind of going through a revamp for Coffee and
It's
Convo
funny you
Houston.
said that. I was just going to say revamp. I was just going to say revamp.
Yeah, we're going through a revamp here. So please, be patient with us. We'll get it going. Um, let's get right into the show. Last week we were discussing spiritual warfare and knowing when you're under attack. Chosen, can you give us a recap of that, please?
Yeah, I so can. Good morning, salutations. Once again, happy Father's Day to all the fathers, everybody that's in the children's life and making a difference. Um, yeah, so last week we talked about spiritual warfare and knowing when you're under attack. Just basically, real short, just talking about how certain things might happen. Can't really explain them. So, okay, well, why did this happen? What was the odds of this happening? You really don't have no control over that. So you have to think, hmm, something, the unseen hand is at work. So what the best thing for that to do, what we said, we get into your prayer and your meditation and not act off of your emotions and just try to see the situation for what it is. And just knowing where your help come from and that's basically pretty much all we talked about. If you do need a recap, that show is definitely on the YouTube page.
Yes, maintaining your peace is very important when you're being, as we would call, under attack. Maintaining your peace is very important. So today's topic, good morning, Rochelle. Due to it being Father's Day, we wanted to discuss positivity and motivation in parenthood. I believe all parents should have a support system. All parents should be encouraged and motivated. And for those that are not parents, if you learned or remember anything from watching your parents, you know it is a struggle. It is stressful. It is hard. Your plate is overflowing with all types of responsibilities and um, some of us really understand that. We understand that you need a break. And it's important for these days, the Father's Day, Mother's Day, even Grandparents' Day, for you to take that time out for self. Um, More so, being a parent is the how would I put this, Frederick? Because at the end, at the bigger picture, God is our parent, correct? So there's a bigger
This is
picture
true.
to parenthood here. Can you go ahead and expound on that for us, Frederick?
Well, I would say that what I've learned from the Most High by being parented and parenting is you have to take a real good look at how the Most High is raising you up and do your best to emulate what He's doing with the child, what He's doing with your child. It's like I was telling that one story about where I was asking the Most High all these questions, and then my son was asking me all of these questions, and I was just like, just do what I told you, because if I tried to explain it,
Hmm.
you wouldn't understand. A lot of
A
life
lot of
has
us
to do
respond
with,
like that.
well, yeah, but a lot of life has to do with looking at everything that's around you and properly positioning yourself to get the correct answer.
Okay. Okay. So, Chosen, give us your thoughts and ideas on parenthood, fatherhood.
Fatherhood, uh, the, there are different responsibilities. When we talked about what what a father is supposed to emulate, or was it supposed to be the example for a father having let's say for a father having a daughter, raising, helping to raise his daughter, he wants to put that image out there to show you what a man is supposed to, to put the right image of what a man is supposed to exude. Um, be there for your child. Be there for her. Show her, show her as if you would your son. But we're talking about the daughter right now. Um, show her the person that she would want to have when she grows up to have her own family. As far as a son, show your son the type of man that train him to be the type of man that he would need to be, what it would take to take on this world. Um, it's I'm, the concept is simple, but the work takes due diligence. The concept is a be there, be there. The concept is take the time out to teach and answer as many of the questions as you definitely can. Like I go with what my brother Frederick said. Like when he said, do, you know, what he just said with do what I said, and then just watch an example. So when you talk about when you so with the Most High, most people I like the saying what they say about a father. A father is God's first love, and a son's or daughter's first hero.
Hmm.
Um, you we are the waymakers. We are given that information on what to do, the solutions, and how to handle the problems from the Most High. We're given that instruction from the Most High, which is our Father. So when we are able to do those things that the Most High instructs us to do, then they can see through our children should be able to see how we navigate, and give the instruction to them. So those seeds being passed down and planted are very important. So for a father, it's hey, it's more than just hey, I'm getting up, go put these hours in so I can provide for you. It's actually taking that time out alongside of putting those hours in to say, hey, I'm here for you. If I'm here for you, we're the providers. We're also the nurturers. We're also, but what we nurture is for you to know the importance of how to handle certain things. So that's pretty much it. There's
Okay.
more to it, but I'm just gonna leave it at that. Like right now. I'm pretty sure it's a
Okay.
lot. I'm pretty sure it's some that I left out, but that's my interpretation of fathers just being there, man. Just showing up every day like you would your job.
Mm. Now, that is very important because as we were talking before, as we were discussing before we went live, there are a lot of fathers that are MIA, and I don't believe they really understand the importance their role is in their children's lives. You know, but we're not gonna talk about how many are MIA. We're just wanting to talk about the support system that is needed out here for fathers as well as mothers. But today is Father's Day, so we're going to really focus on that. Um, Frederick, as you were saying that the Most High is our Father, and teaching how He's teaching us, we're you all, I should say, how He's teaching you all. You are to put that down, to let that trickle down to your children. Okay, as I've read scriptures, there are scriptures in there that are there to support being a parent, help support,
Right.
help motivate, and can you give us some of those? I mean, because the only one that I recall is fathers do not anger your children. Now, I found that to
Well, that's
be very
exasperate.
okay. Go ahead.
Well, that's exasperate. I mean, you're going to anger your child. Come on now. That's just normal.
Mm-hmm.
But exasperate is an example of that is like when you at work and somebody's telling you to do this one thing, and then they're telling you to do another thing, and then they're telling you to do another thing, and you're like, wait a minute, I can only be at one place one time. I got one set of hands. I can't do all of these things that you're trying to say at me because you're angry with me. Slow down, realize that I make mistakes, and guide me through this one priority. What's the highest priority? Let's hit this thing,
Okay.
let's hit that thing, and let's hit this thing. It's so hard when a child is trying to navigate the world. They're fighting themselves first and foremost. And then the parent has to step back and realize whatever you do to them is happening to you, or sometimes vice versa. Most people don't catch the note that what I'm going through, my child might be going through the exact same thing, but in a different way. And
Mm.
so sometimes what the Most High will do is cause you to relate to that child, even though you don't realize you're both going through the same thing, and you need each other to make it through. In most cases, there's often blame placed here, blame placed there, that people don't speak, and we never get to the actual solution of how to make it through whatever it is we're going through.
Okay, interesting. Interesting. So you were saying that the children may go be going through the same thing as the parent is going through, and that is important because what you're experiencing, a lot of parents dismiss that their child may be feeling some type of way about whatever circumstance they're in. Just because there are parents that do not discuss a certain situation with their children does not mean that they do not see. They don't see it
Well, think
or
about it
don't
like
hear
this.
it. Okay.
Think about it like this. When Abraham went through Egypt, he lied and said, Sarah is my sister.
Mm-hmm.
And the king came and took the woman, and then all of the stuff happened. And then years later, Isaac did the exact same thing his father did, the exact same lie.
Oh wow.
So you have to look at the fact that we often repeat, or we are repetition of what our parents have done, the mistakes they've made. We go and make the exact same ones, even though they did everything they could to stop us from making that mistake. But the understanding must be gained.
Okay, and you would say that understanding not being gained would be from lack of communication between the parent and the children. Like I said,
I
um,
would say so.
in our
I think
culture,
that
we are known for not discussing these things with our children. Stay in a child's place, stay out of adults' conversation, adults' business. We are known for doing that. So you're saying by
that's the
not
traditions of
communicating,
men.
okay,
That's the traditions of men. There's nowhere in the Bible where it tells you that nonsense.
that is true. That's what I'm saying. That's
Now,
why I say in our
now you
culture, we are known for doing
Because
that.
even in Isaiah it says, "And a child shall lead them."
Right. It says, and a child shall lead them.
well,
Sometimes those.
that's what I believe parenthood is. The child tells you how to parent.
And
I
You
have no
disagree.
rebuttal. I have no rebuttal.
I was gonna say, children are they are more wise than we give them credit for. And sometimes, if you sit back and actually take the time to listen to your child, they will provide the solution to that problem you are facing if you listen.
Yeah, but most people don't. Let's be quiet. Be a
Most people
child.
don't because it's the idea it that's a child, stay in a child's place. You don't know anything about adult
Yeah,
affairs,
you're
things
just
of
a
that nature.
child.
Okay.
you know.
So how about us? Okay, let's flip the script. Let's say you at work and your boss comes up and there's this issue and you have a solution, and the boss looks at you, oh, you don't know nothing about that. Haven't asked you anything, haven't given you the opportunity to put your proposal forward or anything. They just dismissed you as if your opinion does not matter. How does that feel?
That has happened. That has happened. And
It
you
feels
become
exactly.
discouraged.
Okay, now what do you
Yeah,
think happens to a child on a daily basis?
that
You shatter
they,
them.
they
You shatter their self-esteem.
That
You shatter,
exasperates them. That's why the scripture says, "Do
yeah.
not exasperate the child." Now, you have to, if you're going to sit there and teach your child how to solve problems, don't you have to
Hmm.
give your child some experience in solving
I
problems?
agree. I agree.
yep.
I do agree
Let
with
me
that.
take
So
that
the
further.
only way the child is ever going to learn how to navigate the world is no different than when you go to work and you have a mentor and
Hmm.
they stay with you until you get on your 2 feet and you can do things on your own. Yes, you're going to muddle through and make some mistakes, but they're there as a safety net. They're there as a safeguard. Now that's what being a parent is. Your child, the Bible says that now you got my mind going. I'm going in three different directions. But you're supposed to lead, guide, and instruct your child in such a way that they're solving their own problems, but you're the safety
Mm-hmm.
net and you're the safety guard. So you can't solve all their problems for them, because if you do, they're not going to know how to solve them when you're not around.
This is true. I agree with that. I do agree with that.
So your
So,
child is the best governor.
hmm,
They will tell
that's
you what they
interesting.
need.
That's interesting, because as I stated earlier, most parents they believe since their child is a child, they have no understanding, no knowledge, no wisdom
Oh,
of
that's it. Train the child the way he should go. When he is older, you should not depart from it.
correct. Okay, looks like we kind of
Well, how
lost
do you do that?
chosen. There he is.
Well,
Well,
how
you
do you
have
train a
to be
child?
open with them. You have to communicate with them. You have to not be afraid to share things with them.
So
And
all of that
I
quiet
would,
with grown folks talking,
uh-huh.
that's nonsense.
It is nonsense. I agree with that. Now, me personally, I actually talk to my daughter. I am very open with my daughter. And some things that she say, it's like a light bulb will go off. It's like, wow, I didn't see that, or I didn't think of that solution, that route, things of that nature. And chosen, I know with your two, you may experience the same things. Okay, so we have a
Yep.
comment here. Rochelle says, as parents, we have to realize that every child is different. They learn and come up with answers in their own ways. It's always best to talk to your children and ask them their ideas on what they think should be done and provide guidance. And I really agree with that. Now, I believe that we hinder or stunt our children's growth when we put them in a box, in that category of your child stay there, or there are children that as they grew up didn't realize that their parents were struggling or their parents had problems, because a lot of us believe it's best to shelter, as we would hear, protect our children from
That's
adult
retarded.
affairs. Go ahead.
That is straight
Hey,
Explain
hey,
retarded.
that.
you say,
So
hey,
that
you
is
say, hey,
retarded.
you say it's retarded. You say it's retarded, but it happens,
Hmm.
and
No, what
it
I'm
is.
saying is there is no such thing as a child not knowing that you're struggling. When I'm going to school and I'm getting ranked on because I got on some
Pro wings.
Pro
what do you
wings,
call those?
because you got on some
Payless,
pro
yes, some pro
wings.
wings,
Some pro
some
wings.
Payless specials. My friend over here is wearing a polo. They got this really nice watch, and you came over here and gave me a Mickey Mouse. Now I think I know we struggling.
Yo,
That's not
I
hey,
think I'm
necessary.
fully
I want.
capable of learning that we struggling.
That's not
You be like,
necessarily true.
I want the guest watch too.
I mean, I knew my parents were struggling because they couldn't give me anything that I really wanted.
Well, see, that goes. Okay, okay. So that's one way to look at it too. But then
Hmm.
another way where you're not struggling is okay. So I didn't have a whole bunch of like name brand stuff. Like when everybody was wearing Cavaricis, I was still wearing Levi's.
Wearing
Everybody,
who?
I not one time Cavaricis. You remember Cavaricis?
Oh, I'm
See,
sorry,
I
The,
was
you
one.
could
I was
afford
one of those kids
Levi's.
that was
Cavaricis,
struggling.
Jabot, yeah, Jabos and Cavaricis, and
I've heard of
everybody was wearing.
Jabot.
Hey,
Everybody had, yeah,
he
Jabos and
could
Cavaricis.
afford Levi's.
Look, and so look, so that and everybody had like when everybody had Deodoras, I had Lottos, and when everybody had flights, where everybody had flights, I had Etonics, and
What?
you know what I'm saying. So it was all
Stuff
of
I
them
ain't
little
never
old
heard
shoes
of.
and stuff like that. So, and when you
Yeah,
had
I
a
never heard
cross,
of it
when you
either.
had a cross color jacket, when you had a cross color jacket, I had London Fog, and so it's like
Hey, London Fog was a thing back in the day.
yeah, so it was like all the stuff that we used to have when we was in middle school. Like I didn't have like all of the name brand clothes that everybody so thought that they wore. Now
I'm
the
sorry, I
thing
thought
about it
London
is
Fog was
this.
name brand.
It was name brand, but when you go to school and your peers got what I just said, like the new
Yeah.
Deodoras, the new Lottos, and I mean not Lottos, but the new Nikes, the flights, and the pump. Remember the pump with the basketball on the tongue when you pump them up, and you
Yes, I
Yep.
remember those.
when
I
people
used to be
had
so
those and
mad
stuff
I
like
didn't
that. But
have a
then
pair.
yeah, so you
I
See,
had the
so
wanted to
you
Reeboks,
push
can't
like
tell
them to
me,
look
everybody
so
had the
you
funky.
can't
Jordans.
tell me
So
that children don't know their parents are struggling.
yeah.
Some
So look,
children
but
do
the thing
not.
about it is, but look, but my point is this. but my point is part of it. Whenever there is a struggle, then that's just
Mhm.
what it is. But in my case, it was explained that if you get okay, you can have more of these for just one pair of these. It's like it's not showing, not saying that we're struggling. It's like we're just being smart about how we're being smart about how we spend our money, but and
Spending
so that
money,
you won't
right?
lose sight, so that you won't lose sight on why you are going to school or why you are here. You know, we don't you don't need to be flashy to go learn.
You
And
know, my
I
mother
learned
used
that
to tell
lesson.
us
It
that.
was like yeah, you don't need to be flashy to go to learn. So it wasn't
Hmm.
so not I'm not discrediting what you're saying, Frederick. I'm just saying that it's two sides of that coin. Some people just do have that, hey man, look, this is all I can afford. This is what we have. And they yes, definitely that child knows that they're struggling. But if you don't explain to them how it is on the side of struggle, then that's all they're gonna look at as struggle. When they get older, then you say, look, my mom or my dad, they put two wood nickels together and still was able to send me this, and they understood. Then they really understood. But at first, there's some of them that be like, I just don't know why. We were very poor. We just did not have this, and for a long time, I didn't know why. And maybe sometimes those parents was like you like Re said, to put a little validation on your point on why you brought that up. Some of them like, man, I don't want you to see it. Like I don't want
Hmm.
you to see it. Okay, yeah, we don't have a lot to go around. We don't. I'm trying to uh camouflage it, if you will. So yes, like
Yeah.
both of y'all are right. Both of y'all are definitely right. But I just want to put my third one on there because the way I was taught, it was like, dang, you want to sit up here and laugh at me? Like you want to sit up here and laugh at me because I don't dress like y'all, because I don't have this here. Let me tell you something. Let me see. And it was more like, let me see how smart your parents are versus mine, or smart your guardian is over mine. For that one pair of Jordans, I was able to have three pairs of shoes.
Makes sense. Rochelle says some children may not notice their parents are struggling because they have an overabundance of love from their family that it doesn't cross their minds.
That's that camouflage. That's that camouflage right there. Sometimes, sometimes that works, and sometimes it don't. But I sometimes that works, and sometimes it don't. It happens. It happens.
It happens. Okay.
I
So,
tell you what. I don't recall seeing anybody that I knew with that overabundance of love.
mhm.
I don't recall knowing anybody around me that had an overabundance of love. If anything, you got smacked in the mouth if you spoke when grown folks was talking. Uh,
Right?
you always
Cursed
got
at.
relegated to this little table over here. Oh,
Yes.
see, I don't believe you should be cursing your children out. That's just stupid. That's just a sign that
You're
you
not
yourself have
supposed
no
to, but
class.
again, in
Nah, you're
our
not supposed to. But
culture, that is
society,
what we
what's
grew up
yeah.
with. I mean, let's be
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
realistic.
whoa,
You
whoa. What you mean our culture? What you mean our culture? Because I don't remember taking a vote. I don't remember coming out and saying, yes, I want my mama to smack me in the mouth because she has no class. I don't think
You
so.
know
I'm
what?
not going to sit
I'm gonna
here
tell you
and
this
say
too.
that they
Hey,
were excellent parents because they had no class.
all right. I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna say this too. I'm gonna say this too. Not one time did either of my parents sit up and say, "We're going to the store. Don't ask for nothing.
mm,
Don't ask for
oh,
nothing. Don't act."
that was the
I don't
mantra for
remember.
us.
I don't
Yeah, it
remember
was.
not one time my parents saying no stuff like that.
That was the
It was
mantra for
either
us.
just be on your best behavior, but we already knew.
Um,
You know what I'm saying? But it's just
don't
like I
ask
get
for
what you're
nothing.
saying.
Money
Like with
don't
the
grow
culture, it's
on
like don't ask for
trees.
nothing, no money, no.
You know.
Now I
Hey,
heard
but I
that, but
got a
it wasn't
story
as
for you
frequent
guys
as it at the
about
time
something
that we
about
knew.
that.
Okay.
I got a story for you guys about that. I'm in the store with the children, right? It's all for them and me. Now they well behave when we at home, but we get out in public, they want to start clowning me.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now they running all over the store like they got no home training.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're like, "What you gonna do? You can't beat us in front of these people." I was like, "Okay, I tell you what. You see that restroom over there?
Mm.
I will take you in
Mm-hmm.
there and beat the living hell out of you and bring you back out here.
Now,
You better get some act right."
right. Now,
Now,
see, I'm familiar
children
with a
ain't
lot of
stupid.
that.
Now, children are not stupid. They will put you on the spot. They will test your
They will.
Yeah,
parenting
they will.
skills.
But let
They
me
test
ask
their
you
limits.
this.
They will
Wouldn't
test
this
your
be
limits.
considered the same thing that we do to the Most High?
Yes, that's why it gets done to you so that you recognize it.
It's the same things. I don't I don't know if we actually sit
There's
back and
your
take
children are the most highest form of payback.
And they be like, "Oh man, I used to be this bad. I
right?
used to do that." Like, wow,
I have to
straight
ask
dude.
myself that sometimes. My daughter is so much like me. She's headstrong.
Exactly. Hmm. Keep going.
She's just
We got a list.
stop it. I do have a list, and there are times where I sit back and I really can't do anything but sit there and laugh. I'm like, this child, this is me. How do I fight and discipline me? How do I go back and say, hey, you can't do this because I know this is me. So I sit back and I laugh it off, and then I have to collect myself and figure out a way to talk to her where it'll register. How would I have wanted them to talk to me? Is how I talk to her, and then I
Well, the
have to
best
deal
way
with,
that I've done it, the best way I've done it is when they say, "Well, you did it." I'll be like, "And you see what happened to me?
and you see what happened.
You see what I went through?
You be like, the proof
Hey, and
is
I
in the
got stuck
action.
with you. You're my punishment. Look, you're punishing me right
Wow.
now for being stupid back then." You got to
Because
let
I've
them
learned,
know what goes around comes around.
yes, and I am learning that. I am so learning
Man,
that. Sometimes her wit is just, and I have to catch myself sometimes when she say things, and then she'll fall out laughing because she knows she didn't caught me off guard. She know I can't say anything and respond because guess what? I get it from you, is what she tells me. But those to me are the joys of parenthood, because that
No,
allows me
those are the
that time.
joys of having a good child. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's the joys of having a decent child. Now you got the other ones. You like, where did that come from?
Wow.
Who's did they switch my child in the maternity ward? Where did you come from?
Wow. Okay, so the rebellion, I would call, you're speaking of a rebellious child. And if I'm not mistaken,
Yes.
scripture does speak on rebellious children.
Hmm.
Okay. So, with that, how are we to go about motivating those parents that are dealing with a rebellious child, knowing that, as we stated, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree? This was you. So, how do you address that?
Well, the biggest thing is this ain't about you. I
Okay.
mean, most parents that I've seen, they're so self-involved their children don't exist. They need to be quiet when grown folks talking. They can't ask for this. They can't relate with their parents because their parent consider them to be a burden. I mean, I'm just going to be
Ooh.
real about this. I was a burden. I was not some colorful gift from God. I was not some great thing that my mom wanted. I was a burden. Now, I wasn't around when she was getting a freak on and they decided to make me, but I'm a burden now. I mean,
Mm.
I had no choice in being here, but yet I'm the burden. Now, I understand that children are the consequences of our choices, whether
Mm-hmm.
they be good choices or whether they be bad choices. Now, there is only one way to fix a bad choice. That's to continue to move forward to do good. You will change that child when they see you changing. That
Okay.
child will be more honorable when they see you being honorable. That child will be honest and truthful when they see you being honest and truthful. They emulate. They are you.
Okay. So, what do you have to say about the out of control issues we're having now with this generation?
Oh, that's
Um,
simple. Single moms.
okay. Yeah, what?
Single mothers.
You can't blame
You
that
want to know why?
all on single mothers.
No,
Okay.
no, you got to let me follow through. You got to let me follow
Follow
through.
through.
What we're having right now is a bloodline issue. You got
Okay.
4 or 5 different bloodlines under one roof because
We
everybody
had a
got
show
different
about
mom. I
that.
mean, everybody got different daddies. Everybody got different daddies. Well, think
Mm-hmm.
about it like this: different men behave in different ways. You ever notice that when you have a group of people, they got the same mama, same daddy, they all pretty much act alike. When you got one of those carrots or one of those apples in there, but it's basically they move as a unit. They all think sort of alike. They get together. They have a bond. Now you start throwing in different bloodlines to the household, and what you have is a gaggle of people under one roof. You don't
Okay.
have a family. You start mixing up bloodlines, you got all these different aberrant types of behaviors that's coming in, disrupting the household. And on top of that, there is no head of the household because none of them fathers are there.
Okay. I see what you're saying. I see what you're
I
saying.
see what I'm
Now,
saying too when
whether
I
or
turn on
not
the
I
news.
agree is a
You don't have to
whole nother
agree.
thing. Okay, so
You don't have
chosen.
to agree. I know men.
Okay, so
Go
you're
chosen.
speaking from a man's perspective, a man's perspective here. The different types of
I'm
men, the
speaking from a
absent
man's
men.
perspective, looking at little girls with penises walking around here that have no idea of how to be men. It takes a man to make a man. It takes a man to raise a man. A woman can't do
Did
it.
you say
You
little
can raise
girls
that
with
body.
penises?
That's what I said.
You said little girls with penises. In other words, you're saying that women are raising their little boys to be weak and feminine.
Pretty much, yeah.
Chosen,
Every
please
time
speak
I
on that.
talk to a young, oh, yeah, go for it.
Hold on, Chosen, please speak on that.
Well, I know that that's a touchy subject
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of people won't agree.
Mm-hmm.
But there's only so many things that a woman. There's only so when it comes to raising young men, I give women credit. I give women credit if she is raising a son and the father is in absence. The father is not absent. I mean, the
No, the
father
father
is
is
absent.
absent. Okay.
Yes, yeah, if the father is absent, I give women, well, try to walk with me here. I give women credit for teaching them offense. There's not too many women that can teach their sons defense in that area. That's why it's always important for them to have, if they don't have a father, it's always important for them to have maybe an uncle or
Okay.
somebody that they can confide in, some type of male figure, because you can't give them everything. It's the same way and it goes that way with a daughter. If I had a daughter and I was raising a daughter on my own, I would want to make sure that she had a positive woman
Female role model.
figure,
A
mother,
female role.
female role model, a
Right.
mother, a matriarch, some type of matriarch figure in her life, because I cannot give her everything. I'll be and taught her all the defense in the world. But
Okay.
when it comes to be like, because when it comes to a woman, it's like, okay, well, I can sit up there and tell my daughter, okay, well, when you get older, I'm gonna teach you how to, okay, now I gotta teach you how to fight because I know how
So,
my species do. So, I know how my species do, and this is I'm gonna teach you how to defend yourself, and this is that. And I can sit up and tell you, yeah, a man does like for a woman to cook for him and all this and this. I can give you that, I can give you that synopsis on what a man would like, and I can
mhm.
teach you, but it's gonna take that matriarch to be like to teach you all the hidden things that you need to have. So going back to this, I personally, and I say this, I personally do not like it when a woman says, or when a female says, I'm not gonna put it like that, but when a female says, I did not need a man to raise my son. You can be there and provide for them. That's fine. I take nothing from that. But when they get older and you start seeing certain things, there's going to be some things you're like, well, if either if they had a positive male role model in their lives, they probably would have learned this a lot better. They probably would have had this. You can, they can survive, but there, I solely believe that there is definitely a need for that patriarch, that role model, that male role model enough to raise that son up the way that he should be raised.
Okay. So you basically agreeing with Frederick here that a woman cannot raise a man.
I was raised by a
I
single
mean, you
mom.
heard that.
Huh?
I was raised by a single mom.
Okay.
And I can tell
And
you right now, it messed me up.
okay.
Now, it took the army to fix me. It took a lot of strong male role models to fix me.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to sit here and remember everything I do is about what works. Now, I'm
Right.
sitting here and I'm being a male role model to these young men that are around me. And the first thing I hear out of all of them is how they feel.
How
Well,
they
well, I
feel.
don't feel like, yeah, they always telling me how they feel. Men don't discuss how they feel unless it's to another man and they about to feel him upside his head. But other than that, we don't
Wow.
really discuss feelings. We discuss how to get it done.
Okay. All right. So, what
Same thing
about?
that you same thing that you usually say. Hey, allow yourself to feel and don't act on your emotions. We don't have
Hmm.
time to, and this is what I learned because
But
I
those
mean,
are the
this is
things
what
I
I even
say.
have. Yeah, but even though, even having growing up and having both parents, you know what I'm saying? I got both sides of the spectrum.
Hmm.
And, I got both sides of the spectrum. Yeah, I leaned a lot more to the emotional side because there was things that it's like, dang, I feel like this is not right. I actually want to go back to a point that you made, but right now we're where we are and I don't want to change the subject. But you know, um, Frederick is right when he says, we get together as men. If we have a task in front of us, yeah, we don't have time to be like, this is how I feel. It is okay. We gotta get this done. Let's see how what's going to be the best course of action. We have to discuss course of action.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, I'm gonna let you have that, Frederick. Okay. Um,
I'm not trying to force my opinion on anyone. I'm telling you my personal perspective based
I
on
get
my
it.
childhood and the childhood of many of the guys around me. Now we
And I
all
was
got
raised
our
by a
mama
single
stories.
mother.
Well,
I
you
was
have to
raised
look
by a
at
single
what that
mother.
does. Well, that's
But
fine. You were a
for
female. You want
me,
to know why you so tough?
I was just about to say that, but I'm not one of these people you're speaking. I have both sides of the spectrum. So go ahead and tell
There's
me
no
why am
such
I so
thing.
tough? Okay, explain.
You so tough. You're so tough because your mama made sure that anything she did, if you even looked like you was gonna make one of her mistakes, you got smacked.
No, I didn't. I just got talked bad to.
A
Hey, that's
smack is
still
a
a smack.
smack. It don't matter how you get
A
it.
smack is
Man, I
smack.
just
It
got
could be
talked
physically,
bad
it could be
to.
verbally. Yeah, that's a smack. That verbal man, sometimes that verbal
Words hurt
smack is
more than
worse
the
than the
It,
lick.
it,
physical
it
smack.
hurts
Yeah,
more. Like
words
he
hurt
said,
more
it
than the
hurts
lick.
more than anything. And that stuck with me for a
Yeah.
lifetime. I'm still
And see,
replaying things she said. It's like, come on now.
see, I can't like I tell you what, I can't remember every whooping that I got. It was
But I
like,
can remember
because
those conversations.
but them
Well, they're not even
conversations,
conversations.
you gonna remember.
So
Yeah.
I get it.
So
Okay, I get it. So yeah, I can see that. Um, so again, this leans to how being positive and motivating, having a support system for a single parent is very it's important because we need someone to, I don't want to say help pick up the slack, but help pick up the slack.
bottom line, bottom line, what we actually getting to sum it all up, it takes a village.
It takes a
That's,
That's
I
village.
was
that's
about to
that's
say the same
it
thing.
takes a village.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
bottom
this is
line,
why
it
I keep
takes a
going back to
village.
scripture, because the scripture is the foundation, and we are supposed to have that village. But these days, as we talked about, the community, the difference between back then and now, when it comes down to the community, how the trust has been shattered, you know and that trust has been shattered amongst people because, as we've stated, different things, your next door neighbor uh, then broke into your house. Man, this your next door neighbor, he done broke into your house. uh, Learning that the
Yeah,
neighbor across the street was a
and
pedophile,
you follow
things
him,
like
and
that.
you follow
So
him home, and you follow him home, and you probably find a single mom. You want to know why?
you know
Man, it's just that imbalance. That
I'm not
it's
trying
that
to dish
imbalance,
you. I'm
man.
trying to give you an answer on why men
I
have this
hear you,
aberrant behavior.
but that
I'm not
single
talking about the
parent.
mama.
No, what
I'm
I'm
not
about
talking
to
about the
say
mama.
here, that single parent thing comes in because, again, as we started earlier, absent fathers, and then there are absent mothers. And
Exactly.
then with all of
Exactly.
this, the bottom line, I blame the system.
Well,
I
you
blame the
are
system.
absolutely correct. You are absolutely correct. But if you look at everything that occurs, this is why we have the problem we have. Because you watch TV, you watch the stories, and you look at everything that's out there, all good women like bad boys. Now, you are going to be raising that bad boy when he go away and you left with his son, and you're going to be raising that same guy, and everything that you begin to hate, you're going to see manifested in your child.
Mm,
So you have to be very
interesting.
careful when you're getting ready to meet a man and deal with a man, and he has
Mm-hmm.
aberrant behaviors. You're going to be raising that aberrant behavior for the rest of your life if you are not careful. Women like bad boys. Bad boys turn into bad men. We are surrounded by bad men because women like bad boys.
You think that's why we're surrounded by bad men? Because women like bad boys?
What
All
did
you
Pac
got to
say?
do,
Go ahead. Go ahead, Chosen.
What did Pac say? I'm trying to remember the lyric. What he said, he said he said if we hate the ladies that make the babies, we have a race of babies that hate the ladies.
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Something to
exactly
that
what happened.
extent.
That's
And
exactly,
that's
I know
exactly
what
what
song
happened.
you're singing. You're saying that's what happened?
Yes.
And that's exactly what happened. Because if you think about
You've
it,
never heard
how
of
many, how
men,
many,
so
how,
many
how
men.
many,
Hold on, one at a time.
Go for it.
mm, now,
Go
because
for
your
it,
point was
Joseph. I'm just
stronger. Go
excited.
ahead. Yeah, that's what I'm
Well, you
saying. Your
never
energy is
have,
strong on that. So say what
oh,
you say.
you never had men willing to beat up on women back like you do right now. And they have no compulsion about it. Back then, you would have other men that would come and whoop your butt if they found out you was beating on your woman and all this other
We
stuff.
need some
Now
of that
it
these
is the
days.
norm.
We need a lot of that.
No, we
But you
do
know what?
not.
And then,
Men are
no,
supposed
we
to have
don't. You want to know
honor.
why?
Men are supposed to behave in
There you
certain
go.
ways. We are
Men are
supposed to do
supposed to
what we're
behave in.
supposed to do because it's the right thing, not because
Hmm.
everybody else is doing it.
He's doing it.
The
Okay, so
strongest
But you
men
got
are the
so
ones
many,
that toe the line.
right? But you got so
wait a minute.
many.
I
But
need
see
you to
now,
repeat that. You say the strongest men
Are the
are the
ones
ones
that toe
that
the
toe the
line.
line.
The ones that do the right thing when everybody around them is doing the wrong thing.
Mm,
what? She like
mm.
shaking her head. What you shaking your head about? I'm serious. I mean, okay,
They call that
so
manhood.
like I say this, man. Like I speak for myself, but I know there's other men that's like this. I can sit up and I can see something wrong, and it'd be something that just start growing in me to be like, dog, somebody got to do something. Like, like like, oh, how am I just sitting here and letting this happen? It's something that swell up in you that make you want to do that, and before you know it, you be in. You know what? Let's get this done, regardless of the
So let
income.
me
But
ask you
this has to
this.
stop.
Is this why there are a lack of uh, men that step in, as you brought up with domestic violence, because they are saying it to be okay?
Yeah. I mean, you watch YouTube and everything else, and they even got the things on there, women getting what they ask for. You want to be like, you want to act like a man? I'm going to treat you like one. You used to hear that way back from all the way from the 50s all the way up. Now, these days, it's come to pass. The chicken has come home to roost.
To roost.
So wait a
The
minute,
chickens come home to roost.
because domestic violence is not new. It's always been around. It was just well
These
hidden.
days, it's the women instigating it.
It No, it's not. No, no, it's
I
not.
remember back in the day, some years right when I was getting ready to go to when I was going to PV. Uh, we were having a talk, and and I promise you, I kid you not. I might not be able to remember the exact day, but all I do remember we was all in front of Holly Hall and it was daylight, and I heard somebody say it's in for women to disrespect men. And when I heard that, I was like, for some odd reason, that was the day where I started that stuck with me. And then I started seeing that more and more since that day on. I wasn't even looking for it. And I started seeing that more and more since the day on. And the reason why I'm saying to agree with Frederick was, like he said, it was um, they want more to, they wanted to be more like oh, you want to be a man, I'm gonna treat you like one. It was like,
We're
hey,
gonna
we
have
okay,
to address
we
that
gonna
one
say
day.
whatever, something like that. It was something toward that extent. But being the fact that I started seeing the influx of how women would talk to men like they ain't about nothing. And then it goes back to that,
Okay,
it
so
can
I can
also
give
go
you
back
that.
to that
I can give you that.
that thing.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I can give you
No, you
that.
good.
There is,
You good.
um, a there is you see, men call it disrespect. Now I can see if it's done out in public in front of a crowd and all this, that, and the other, but a one-on-one conversation
Ooh,
is you and that man. Now, when you speak from the heart, from your emotions, whatever you want to call it, that because it hurts their feelings, that's when they call it disrespect because it hurts their
no,
feelings. You gonna disagree?
my girl, we get to arguing and she put it down and it's the truth. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
we all three got one thing in common. The truth shuts us up. Shuts
Mm-hmm.
us up. Okay, it doesn't matter who I'm talking to. It could be my significant other, it could be my boss, it could be my greatest enemy. The truth shuts me up. Now, as long as
Mm-hmm.
she's in her emotions and she's telling the truth, she's won many arguments just on logic alone.
Right. So, but what I'm saying
Yeah.
is
So
to bring that up there again, as you stated before, feelings part because they hurt if their feelings, they consider that disrespect. Now, if we're going to go back to having the father in the home and not having them in the home, the father in the home will will teach you um how to deal with those
Yes.
things that are they would teach you how to deal, but when they're not in the
Mhm.
home you don't know how to deal, so you begin to wild out and take things in your own hands, and this is where I see, go ahead because
I'm
you're
glad
about
you
to open
used
your
that
mouth and say
word.
something. What word?
I'm glad you keep going. I'm glad you used that word, wildlands. That's what the one dude called them, wildlands. We don't have children no more. We got wildlands. Go ahead.
But this is where that emotion gets out of control and you start wilding out. Okay. Now, this is again going back to why I said it is important. While we can agree, it is important to have a support system because there are ones out there that allow that emotion to get out of control. If they didn't tick you off, go ahead and
No,
go do whatever, whatever. That's how
no
I
impulse
view it.
control. No
No
impulse
impulse
control.
control.
You want to know what
And that's an
solves that problem?
emotional issue. That's an
Yep,
emotional
not necessarily.
immaturity.
Well, that's true, but that's complete immaturity. The main thing
Hmm.
that men have that boys and these dudes don't is self-discipline.
I'm gonna give you that one. I'm gonna give you that one. I'm not even gonna touch that one. I'm gonna give you that one. Okay, chosen. All right. Speak on that real quick. Self-discipline.
what about the whole self-discipline thing?
Yes.
I mean, okay, so yesterday, we talked to me, my father, my brother, we talked to our boys yesterday, and one of the key things that we told them was, okay, when we tell our children, okay, I got mine, you got to get yours, but we had to explain to them what that actually meant. We if you have a passion, we have to nurture that passion to be better every day. Not because it's what you're supposed to do. It's some things that you do because you want to be great. When you see the rewards as a man, when you see the rewards of being great, it's not supposed to be like, oh, I gotta get up so I can do this. And it's like, oh man, you know what? Today is the day that I can get closer to being great. I want to be
Hmm.
great. I want to be, and if I'm looking at my father, if I'm looking at my parent, but since it's Father's Day, we focusing on that. I'm looking at my father, and he's great. He wants to give me what I didn't have, and he wants me to be better. So it has to be something on the inside that you instill in your son that says, today I'm doing this because I want to. So anytime that you have something and that passion is on the inside of you to be great because you want to be great, you're gonna gain that self-discipline because the most high is going to always show you what you can have, but it's going to take work. And being the fact that we are created, the most high has created us different. We built different. That's why men and women are different. We're built different to take things, to be able to withstand uh, different things and persevere through, to basically train your mind and train yourself to persevere through anything. So even when you sick and you have a passion on the inside, even when you feel like you sick and that passion burn hard, it's like I can still get up. I might not be feeling the best, but I can still get up and go do it. But why? Because I want to do it. So that's where that self-discipline comes in at. It's like I can't let this stop me. And this is what I want. So it's like, okay, I got to get up and go do this. It might be some things that I might want to do, might be some things that charm me, but to get there, I have to avoid these distractions. I have to get away from this. I have to leave these things alone to get where I want to go for a time. That's where that self-discipline comes in. So if I like to sit up and watch anime all day, but I know I got a goal to do, it's like, okay, I got to discipline myself to manage my time. I have to discipline myself to say, hey, fellas, I can't get with y'all tonight because I still have this mission to go on and I still got to do this. That's what self-discipline is. That's self-discipline to see your goal and be able to go away from or avoid the things that charm you the most that might hinder your goal. Because when you self-motivated, you want to get there as fast as possible. But
Now,
it's only gonna be at the most appointed time, at
now
the most
this
highest appointed time.
this is basically how instant gratification has become the rage, is what you're saying, because they're not being taught self-discipline. And with that instant
I mean,
gratification, that will negatively motivate the robbery, the assault, the you know, all
well, it's
this.
the absence. It's yeah. Well,
Okay.
see, that comes because it's the absence of what it's the absence of the right thing to do. The absence of correct instruction. All
Okay.
right. You hear it a lot in the music
In the
when they
music,
talk about
yes.
being the stick up. When they talk about being the stick up kid and this, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, okay, because my mama was always gone and my grandma was there, but you didn't really have that father figure. Now, I'm not saying all father figures are upstanding,
Really.
are positive. Not all of them are positive. I'm not. But look, not all of them because you had some out there that was fast talkers and hustlers and
Mm-hmm.
stuff because that seed was planted in them, and they came from. Okay, perfect example. You remember Meet the Browns with Angela Bassett, the Tyler Perry
Yes,
movie Meet the
yes,
Browns with
yes. I
Angela
remember that
Bassett.
movie.
Okay, homeboy didn't like to see his mother and his sister struggling. Dude said, "I need some
So he
money."
went
He
out
went
there
and
to.
found some of
I
his kids.
remember
He went and found some of them cats out there to go sit up there and try to make some quick money.
because he
It
was trying
wasn't
to help his
because
mother. He
he
just
wanted to
chose
be
the
a
fast
gangster.
route to
He
do it.
wanted to
Yeah.
find a way to find. He said, "I'm choosing to find one." So what wound up happening is he got shot. That
Yeah.
father of that poor excuse for in the movie, that poor excuse for a father was in it was not in his life. And you heard how bad he talked to Angela Bassett about
Mm-hmm.
what it was. So he's going to so he had that the I want to say it was like a vindictive, but what it was he had an anger. It was the anger of to get back at their father. If I can
Mm-hmm.
make this happen, regardless of the means, then I have something else to throw up in his face. I'm doing more than you ever did. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
you have so now he has an anger for that father figure, the
That
man
was the
that birthed
same
him
thing.
or whatever. He wasn't there, and you said that was the same. What?
I wanted to say that's normally the storyline in a lot of our movies, because in Drumline it was the same thing when he
So
graduated high school
that's
before he
what
went to college.
yeah,
It
so
was the same thing.
that's what I'm getting at. And that's what I'm getting at. It's like so I'm not ever gonna say that I'm bashing single mothers because you have those mothers out there that sit up there and they have to do what they have to do to put food on the table. But
Mm-hmm.
what happened? That in that movie, Meet the Browns, she wasn't able to teach him defense. The
Okay.
offense was my mama ain't got, I gotta go get. That was the offense. It was I gotta go do it. Yo, this might be wrong. And he wound up getting shot. And it wasn't like his intentions was bad. He didn't want to hurt nobody. He just wanted to help his mama. But the defense with the father is this, son. I'll tell my son this in a minute. Son, as long as you can push a lawnmower, you'll never be broke.
And on that, we're going to start with
Defense.
our bullet points. Frederick, let's hit your bullet points.
Okay, I love the way that Chosen's life has been and the way he gets his motivation. But I'm like a lot of people, I'm lazy and I don't want to do nothing.
I
So
think we all
I
have
don't
that. I think we all have that.
I don't pump myself up quite the same way Chosen does. I'm what you would call a lazy workaholic. My job in life is
I
to
get
get
that.
out there, get it done, move swiftly so I can go back to being lazy. So I
Hey,
want to get
yo,
it.
I feel
I'm
that.
taking the hardest thing on first. I'm knocking it down. I'm getting it out the way so I can go back and lay down. I'm gonna get it done. Now I don't believe in procrastination. I believe if you're lazy, do the opposite. Go do what you don't
Okay.
want to do. Get it over with so you can go back to chilling.
Hey,
Okay.
I like that.
That's fair enough. And Chosen, your bullet points?
All right, man. I'm just gonna wrap this up because I want to go and elaborate on like the last thing I said.
Okay.
When we talk about that motivation, and we talk about that motivation with the fathers, like I said, I tell my son, man, look, as long as you can, if you know how to wash a car, if you know how to push a lawnmower, you'll never be broke. If you understand that you can, uh, there are always ways to make money to get what it is that you need to get. But if you let outside influences and let society tell you how to get a bag or whatever, then you'll and there's no uh, patriarch in your life or positive role model, male role model to teach you how to do things, then there's a greater chance that you will succumb to what society wants you to succumb to. And it's set up that way. So my bullet point on that is just saying, hey, correct instruction is always needed. Always have to have correct instruction. And that like, and I still say this and I stand on it. You can agree with me or disagree, but the women, they specify in teaching boys when they're raising boys, they gonna teach them more, they gonna teach them way more offense and deep versus defense. It's gonna always be offense and defense. You need that father figure to teach those young men defense. That's it. That's my bullet point right there.
All right. So, again, the importance of positivity, motivation, support systems with parents. The bullet point is it takes a village. If
A
you,
village.
the
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
It takes a village. If that father figure is not in the home, what about the church? What about the extended family and not the kids on the block? That's what you're saying,
Well, I
correct?
mean, well, yeah, well, okay, but then we also did that show too about how that has changed, and
Mm-hmm.
you can't how that's changed is like you can't really confide in that like we used to. Because back in the day, you go to church, who, everybody knew you in the church. Your churches wasn't as big. So
Yeah,
Sister
you're
Maybelline and
speaking of
Sister
the
Claiborne,
mega churches,
yeah, so like, so Sister Maybelline and Sister Claiborne
right?
might be able to say, hey, I know your mama. You want this? You know what I'm saying? I know your mama, or you know what I'm saying, or deacon, or the deacon might be like, get with the father, say, hey, you got to go to work next Saturday. Well, uh, you can drop him off. Me and my son going to go cut yards. Me and my son going to go fishing. Look at what you just did. What you just did was put them in an environment where they can be able to take part in some things that to be able to take part in some things that's gonna help them in the long run. We don't really do that too much no more nowadays. Everybody's by themselves. Everybody's rolling by themselves because things have gotten bigger. You think that just because the congregation got bigger, drew everybody closer? No, this stuff it spread everybody out. It's too many. It's too many to name. It's too many people out there. People don't even write down phone numbers no more. It's emails and Facebooks and Instagrams and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, we don't have the numbers. You can't just sit there and call them like you used to. You would think that it's easier, but it's not. and that causes
All
more people
right.
to fan out. It's too many people.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining Coffee and Convo Houston. Today we were talking about the
Thank
importance
you.
and positivity of motivation and parenthood. If you take anything away from today's show, understand that it takes a village to raise your children. That is important. Thank you for joining Coffee and Convo Houston. Hope you join us next Sunday at 10 a.m. Central Standard. Please catch us on Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope. Have a lovely day.
God bless.
God bless.
Good morning. Thank you for joining Coffee